Okay, so we're starting Project 16. Project 16 is here in Unit 4. So we're starting a new unit utilizing bank and credit services. And so in this one, what we're going to be doing is listed down here. And the basic storyline behind this, coming down here, we'll read the rest later. Your class has recently visited a local bank and listened to Mr. Slater, the bank's president, talk about banking services. Banking services, things that banks can do for you. Mr. Slater announced a brochure contest that the bank is sponsoring for high school students as a way to market the bank's products and services to the teen community. To market, to make you aware of the products that they offer. Okay, so we're starting right here in Unit 4, in Unit 16. And one of the first things it tells us to do, of course, is go ahead and open a Google Doc. And as you know, I've already uh, put the link right here. This is the one I want you using. And here we go. Okay, so as you complete, refer to Visual 16 for guidance. Now we're on step number 4. The first thing they tell us to do is change the document to landscape. So I'm going to come over here and click on File, and I'm going to come down here to Page Setup. And I'll click on Landscape. I'm going to cancel this real quick to make sure that we're clear on what that means. So I'm going to first zoom out. And normally a page is up and down like this, and this is referred to as portrait. So I'm going to come over here to File, Page Setup, Landscape, and you don't need to click on OK right now because we're coming right back here, but I want to show you what that did. And that turned it width-wise, okay? So the next thing we're going to do here is in that same menu, Page Setup, and we're going to take all of the margins and set them to 1/4 inch, 0.225, oops, tab 0.25, tab 0.25, tab 0.25. Landscape, 1/4 inch margins, okay. And that took us through A and B of step 4. The next thing we're going to do is put in 3 columns with a spacing of 1/2 inch. So format, columns, more options. We're going to put in 3 columns with a spacing of 1/2 inch. Now, there's nothing here that says that there are lines between the columns. I'm scrolling down just to look at the picture, if you're wondering what I'm doing right at this moment, because I just want to see if they have lines. No, they don't. So we don't need to do that. Okay. And what this would have done is between each of the columns, you'll see the columns, it would have put a line there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and click on Apply. Great. Okay, now the brochure should be divided into 3 panels as shown on. Note how the panels are labeled on each side. Place the contents for page 1 of the brochure according to the following instructions. Okay. And I am going to pull this screen over so you can kind of see what this is going to look like when we're done. However, I will tell you, you should open the textbook on your computer also so you can see what's going on here. Come on over here. And so you can see that that panel there and this panel here is basically what we're doing, okay? So this is effectively what it's going to look like. Outside, outside middle, outside right, okay? And then we got inside panels here. Okay, so we kind of have an idea as to what we're doing here. I'm going to just come up here a little bit. And you can see that we're on page number 71 at this point. I'm going to move this over to my other screen now, just so you can see what we're doing. Okay, on the outside right panel, include the following, okay? Finance your future, Slater Bank, okay. And they want us to put in some kind of graphic image. Okay, so we're on this panel right here. Come on. I know we divided this up in the columns. So it seems really weird to me to be starting on the right panel. I'm just going to look again to make sure that I'm actually doing what they want done, okay? And the way I'm going to do this, It's not quite cheating, but I am going to go ahead and look at what they want it to look like when we're done. So I'm going to pause for a second, and I'll show you what they want it to look like when we're done. Actually, so I won't even bother pausing. It just does a little bit of clicking around that you guys basically probably don't care much about. Examples. Nope, that's what I'm doing right now. What I want down here is Unit 16. There it is. I forget this isn't opening. Go ahead and close. Okay, Unit 16. I'm just going to right click on that. Come on. And I'm going to download. And it'll be opening up in the other view right now. I want to make sure outside right panel. I'm actually going to go down and make sure that I'm putting it where that we're outside right panel. That's where they want it. Okay. Like I say, this is just different than the way I would do it. Sorry, I know there's a lot of babbling going on this one. Okay. Coming over here, we're on the outside right panel. Come on. Good. Comp 1. There we go. Ooh, I know I gave you more than this. Yes, I did. There it is. On the outside right panel. Finance your future. Oh, that's because I didn't actually give you this part because it was just too simple. Okay, I see what they want. Okay. So we're going to start with financing your future. Okay, obviously, that is way too small. What I'm going to do here, of course, is go ahead and select that, and we're going to make that a lot bigger. They will actually want, when I look at their picture, they want each of these things on one line. They want this centered, so we're going to go ahead and center that. Let's go ahead and use a better looking font than that. Arial just is not a great looking font. So we do want to go a tiny bit smaller there. Nope. So let's go, what did we try, 50? There, that looks good. Okay, financing your future. And then we've got the address of the bank. So let's come back up here. Slater Street, Havana, Austin, Texas. Let's come up here and grab that. Right here. Control C. Back over here. Financing your future. Enter. Let's go ahead and make this a lot smaller now. So we're going to go down to like 30. Control V. Oh, that's small. Slater Bank. And what did I say? Let's just go ahead and try a few sizes bigger. 30. Nope, too big. There we go. Okay, and again, we do definitely want to make sure that you always use the same font. Okay, unless there's really a good reason for changing font in the middle of a document, don't change the font itself. And again, let's go ahead and make sure that that's actually black. You see, it uses this custom gray when we bring it in from Canvas, and it kind of looks just crummy. It just has a crummy look to it. Okay, good. And underneath of that, we're going to go ahead and put some kind of small image. So let's come over here and insert image, search web, and we're just going to use bank. Yummy, crummy. Okay, there we go. That actually almost looks like the one they used. Insert. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller so it fits there. And there we go. Okay, now we've got the outside front cover. Let's go to the next part. Come on. Oh, that's mine's I'm in the wrong book. Okay, next. Okay, that was the outside right panel. Okay. Next, we're going to do the inside middle panel, back cover. Okay, hold on. Outside right panel. Okay. I'm going to come down to here. Okay. You see where I'm at, right? And I come over here and insert, and I want to go ahead and, I can't believe I'm doing this badly. Insert. I'll tell you what we're doing is we're putting in a page break, a new break, new page. Okay, that forced, as you can see, that forced a new page. Okay, so next, outside middle cover. I'm just going to go back and make sure that this is actually what they want. Inside, outside. Let's go back up. Because, yeah, I'm going to pause it here because there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of flipping back and forth on my part to make sure that I'm on the right panel as we do this, because they're just not naming these the way that I would normally name them. Okay, this is what they want. I'm just, like I said, on this one, I think you're going to see that there is going to be a lot of my going back and forth because I want to make sure that I'm doing what they're saying in the book here. So the next thing we're going to do here is we're again going to put in another image, another bank image. That one's good. Let's go ahead and see what else we can do though. So insert image. I can't believe I'm doing this bad. Insert image. I can't believe I'm doing this bad. Okay, we're going to do that again. Insert image. Okay, I'll tell you what went wrong is I was like scrolled to here and I was looking for it here and I need to go to the very top. It's at the very top. That was just a dumb out of me. Okay, search the web. Okay, so we're just looking for another picture that kind of looks bankish and is sort of tall. They want a tall picture here. And so I'm kind of looking. If we don't find anything awesome, that's fine. Okay. You know what? I'm going to use the same image. Okay. There's a certain value to using the same image through it. We could, well, let's go over here and just see if we find anything we like better. Yeah, that's good. Okay, insert. No, Control Z. It was supposed to be here. Okay, insert, image, search the web, and we'll go with this one. Insert. Okay, good enough. And here we had something go wrong. Okay. See, this is why what they're doing seems odd to me, because when you do it in this direction, you're constantly bumping stuff around. And it is the way they've got the directions written. I will tell you, I don't like doing it in this direction because what's going to happen is we're going to be constantly moving things around to make them fit on the screen correct the way they want them. Okay, so now we're just going to go Slater Bank. Okay, again, Slater Bank. Bank, enter, and we're going to come over here and we're going to go ahead and get all of this right here. Control C, Control V. Okay, we'll fix it in a minute. We'll just fix it in a couple of minutes, all of it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make all of this Meriwether. Good. We're going to go ahead and make all of this black. Good. We're going to go ahead and select the word Slater Bank. Actually, they want all of this centered. That's fine. In a case like this, I know I'm not, I always tell you guys to, not to be hesitant to center stuff just because sometimes stuff comes out looking like garbage when you center it. But here, it's fine. You see, I'm just clicking a bunch of times until we get it, until frankly it's too big. And once it's too big, I go back a couple until it fits. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with these right here if you're wondering what I'm doing here. Okay. And oops, already too big. Okay, and we need to center this. If we're centering everything else here, we've got to center that. Okay, now again, I'm going to come back here, backspace a few times. Yeah, and as I will say like a million times in this lesson, this is not the way I would have done it, simply because it's got you backtracking too much, and I don't like that. But that's why they got it done. Okay, add an additional panel, hold it, on the outside middle panel, outside right panel, outside middle panel, add a graphic. On the outside left panel, we're going to go ahead and put in these. Online bank, so that's over here. Okay, I'm going to go up to the top of this one, and later on we can adjust what size and image and positioning and all that stuff. So where are we at? Bank Slater Bank offers online. Control C. Actually, we're going to go ahead and grab all of that. Control C. Come back over here. The first thing we're going to do, though, is type in what goes above that, online and mobile banking. They want that in all caps. Online and mobile banking. Enter. One more. Now caps lock off, banking on the go. The word go here is capitalized. Enter, enter, and Control V. Good. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and grab all of these here, and we're going to make those bulleted, so it's a bulleted list. And let's see here, anything else? Nope. Now we're just going to first select all of this. We're going to make it black, okay? We're always doing that simply because we're importing it from Canvas and it comes out looking ugly. You know what? I'm going to get rid of those. Now that I see what we got going on here, I'm going to get rid of that. That looks right. Okay, good. Now we're going to go ahead and to all account holders. I'm going to look at their example real fast. Okay, one thing they do here, which I'm not a big fan of, but I will show you, and hopefully you'll see why I tell you not to do this much. Oddly enough, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, tells us not to do this. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways because I want you to see what's going to happen here. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. Okay, and this one. Now, the problem with this, and I'm going to zoom in some, okay, so you guys can see what's going on here, is that the way this works to square up this edge here is it changes the spacing between the words. And frankly, that makes it harder to read. And this is why the SEC tells us not to do it. They basically feel this looks ugly, and I happen to agree. That said, in the example, they want you to see how to go ahead and do the full justification. And when I say full justification, you can see there the word justify, aligned on both edges. Sometimes instead of saying aligned left, we would say left justified. Instead of saying aligned right, we would say right justified. And here we would say full justified, just to let you know how I'm using that word, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom back out again. And because it's again made a complete mess of everything else we did, I'm going to start hitting backspace. And there we go. Okay. And so now that's back to where it should be. We got anything else going on there? Not really. Oh, they want an image up here. Okay. So let's go ahead. First, what I'm going to do. Oh, I goofed there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select these words right here, Control C. I'm going to click here, which of course means we're going to have to move everything again, but oh well. Insert image, it's at the top. That felt dumb. Okay, and Control V. Good. Online mobile banking. Good. Let's grab an online mobile banking image. And which one you choose is probably not really the most important thing here. Is that one good? Yeah, I'm going to go with that one for no good reason. Insert. Okay. Ooh, that's ugly. Control Z. What is it? Yeah. Control Z. You could use that one if you want to, okay? Insert image, search the web, and good. And now I'm just going to scroll over here. I'm going to pause for a minute while I try to find. Okay, frankly, I never found anything I liked, so I went with that one. Backspace. I will show you the images that they're using for theirs. Okay. The only thing I did there is trying to make sure these images line up at least on one on an edge. Which edge isn't as important is some edge. I'm going to try to center that a little bit, which means now I'll come back over here and go backspace there a few times. Good. Good. Trying to get everything lined up in some way so that there's some line here that is lined up on. Okay, so basically we've got this part of it done. Now let's go on and take a look at what they want for the back. Okay, so now coming over here to the instructions again, paying bills. So you see what we've got here. Okay, so on the front, let's go through this on the front page here. We've got some kind of image about mobile banking. We've got the section about banking on the go. These are bulleted, and they do need to be bulleted. That's a bulleted list. That's the dots right there. You should have seen it. Here we got some kind of picture about bank. We got the bank's name and address. Then on the front cover, and when you fold this up, this would be the front cover, pretty big text saying who they are. Okay, so let's continue on. Add additional graphics, and that was step 11, and that was that picture right there. Okay, add another page to your brochure. We actually already did that because I wasn't sure when they were going to do it. And on the outside left, middle, and right panels, do the following. This time they're doing it in the correct order. It just kind of annoyed me the way they did that. Okay. So the first thing we're doing, we're on the outside left, and we're going to go ahead and do checking and savings accounts. So coming over here, typical banking accounts. Control C, come back over here. We're on this one, and we are going to left align at this point, and we're going to go ahead and type in checking and savings account. And they're big on the ampersand there. Obviously, this needs to be smaller. How small? Okay, good. That was just enough times to make it fit on one page. However, and that's the widest one there, just as a comment. Okay. Oh, keep your money safe and secure. Sorry. Okay. Where do they actually say to do that? Include the following information. I'm going to pause for a minute because I want to see where in the example they say to do what they're telling us to do in the book. Okay, easy answer. They don't. Okay, what they're basically saying, so I am going to copy the words checking and savings accounts here. Control C, actually Control X. Now I'm going to go ahead and just type in keep your money safe and secure. Okay, and guess who forgot caps lock? Okay, so remember format, text, capitalization, title case. Good. And so that way I don't have to redo everything I just typed in. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. So I'm going to come up here. Okay. That's good. Okay, because we did that there, okay, we actually kind of, okay, looking at their example, okay, but this here, banking on the go, needs to be the same size, and that would, remember, that was 22. Okay. Okay. Now remember, somehow this got in as Arial. We change that to Meriwether. Good. Okay. Keeping your money safe and secure, enter. And now I'm going to go ahead and paste that section right here and copy, Control V. Okay, including checking, yes, 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 Slater Bank. Okay. And they still want this stuff to be fully justified. Now you can see kind of something went wrong here when we copied it in. You see the word cards there. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on that so you guys can see. Sometimes when you copy stuff in, it doesn't come out with the right spacing. And so I'm just going to hit backspace, spacebar. Oops, one spacebar there. Do I see anything else here if it looks ugly? Yeah, the rest of it looks fine. Okay, go ahead and select it. We're gonna, of course, we're gonna make that black. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and format that as Meriwether. In a few minutes, we'll go through and make sure everything else here is formatted Meriwether. And again, they want full justification. This is probably the only time I will actually say, yeah, sure, go with full justification because I think it's that bad. Okay, now where they wanted us to put the words checking and saving was the image. Okay, so we're going to go up here, insert, image, search the web, and checking and savings accounts. Caps lock off, savings account. Come on, mouse move. And we're going to look for a picture. It kind of looks like checking and savings account. I don't see their picture here, and it's not really that important to use the exact picture they use, but I do see that one, and so we'll go with that. Insert. Good. Okay, let's go ahead and zoom out again so we can see what this looks like. Okay, so far this looks pretty good on this one. Let's see. Looks like this one didn't get changed to Meriwether, so we're going to go ahead and change that one to Meriwether. All of this here while we're at it. Again, don't mix fonts unless you have a really good reason for why you're mixing fonts. Okay, you see something when we change the fonts, what that did? Okay, so we're going to have to resize this image here. Good. And because we resized it this time, we are going to center it. Oops, come on. Here it is, center a line because we're working with an image that moved. There we go. Okay. And again, something happened over here. Backspace. There we go. And everything's nice and aligned again. Okay, when it did that, okay, I basically came over here and clicked somewhere else, and you see the little bar there. I want that little blinking bar there, and then I hit backspace when the blinking bar was right there, just to let you know what I did to adjust that. Okay, looks kind of ugly, but this is what they want. Okay, so now we're on the center panel over here. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm just going to click there and enter a couple times, just because I think it'll look a little bit better. Okay, now I clicked on the picture. I actually wanted to click below it, so now I'm going to hit the right arrow button. And that took me over to there. And now I'm just going to just hit enter a few times until I'm at the top of the next page. And you see where I'm at now. Okay, and here they want certificate of deposit. Okay, here's one of our first vocabulary words. A certificate of deposit. It's a very, they use the words low risk just because you're certain to get your money. I'm going to say almost certain. As a doing finance teaching, I cannot say anything certain, but very certain. Unless major planet-ending catastrophe kind of thing. And so it is a certificate of deposit. It's a low risk and therefore low return document. Normally, you put it in for a certain amount of time, and that the interest rate is based on the idea that, remember, the interest, money paid to borrow money, the interest rate is based on the idea that you are loaning them the money, making it available to them for a certain fixed amount of time, and that's defined within the certificate of deposit. Reasons for this: relatively, like I say, very low risk is one of the reasons why you might want a certificate of deposit. Some people like certificate of deposit because it does tie up the money for that long, that the money's not really available to them for, say, 6 months, maybe a few years, because they're saving to buy a house or something, and they don't want that money to be in a form that they can spend. And so that's a possibility for why a person might want a certificate of deposit. There are plenty of other good reasons, but really those are the main ones. The safety, as in the certainty of getting their money back, and the idea that it does tie up your money for a certain amount of time. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and insert image, search the web, certificate of deposit. Trying to get it to. Okay, and over. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Okay, that's good. Insert. Enter. Make your money grow. And again, because I want to use the same format, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on the format painter. I'm going to go ahead and select that. This is kind of a more complicated one. I will admit that. Okay, now we're going to come down here. Do they want anything else under that? No, they do not. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Come up here. We're going to grab the another way to save money and watch it grow by opening the certificate of deposit or CD. A certificate of deposit is a low risk, therefore low return. Return means that interest rate that's paid to you. Investment that usually pays a higher interest rate than a traditional savings account. It's low, but it's not as low as a normal savings account. Normal savings accounts, to be honest, the interest they pay is really low. The longer of a time period it is the longer of a time period it is held to mature, meaning how long you have to wait until you can get your money, the higher the interest rate paid. CDs typically have maturity dates such as 3 or 6 months, or 1, 2, 3, or 5 years. The depositor is restricted from withdrawing money from withdrawing the funds on demand, meaning walking in and saying, "Give me my money," and most incur a fee or penalty for early withdrawal. If you do go in and get your money early, you wind up paying a pretty hefty fee out of the interest that you would have been paid. Okay, just so you understand what's going on there. Control V. Okay, go ahead and click on this, click on Format Painter, and drag that over all of this. And there we go. Okay, so that one's done. Oops. Can watch their money grow. Okay. Good. You saw what happened to some of the text wound up over here on the side. Another thing I could have done, and I probably will do instead, is I'm going to go ahead there, insert. Basically, I want a little bit of space right before this here starts. Okay, I just don't want it to start right there. Okay, next, car loan. Okay, so we're going to come down here again to the bottom. Enter, 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 car loan. Car loan. Over here, click on this, click on Format Painter, drag it over car loan. Oops, Control Z. I think you saw what I did. If you didn't see what I did, what happened is I drug too far. Click on Format Painter, very carefully drag just over towards car loan. Good. And enter. Let's come down here and get the car loan information. A car loan is a contract with a promise to pay back the money being borrowed. When you receive a loan from Slater Bank, the money borrowed is a fixed sum, but you're also going to have to pay back interest. We're going to look at that a little bit later. We're going to make a spreadsheet so you can really see how much you're paying to borrow that money to buy a car. The longer of a term of a loan, the more interest you'll pay. So it's wise to get your car loan with a lower interest rate and pay the loan off as soon as possible. And like I said, we're going to look at that in just a couple of lessons. V. And again, I'm just going to come over here, click on this. I'm going to click on Format Painter. I'm just going to drag that right over that stuff right there. Good. And what's the next thing? Okay. Enter, enter. Loan services, image. Insert, image. In case you're wondering what has happened here, I have stopped looking as closely at the instructions. So if you're following the instructions step by step, that's not what I want to do. Cancel. You may see that I'm no longer in the order they're in because, like I said, the order they would do this in was just not the same order that I would ever do this in. Image, search the web. I think I clicked on upload from computer, and I'm going to go, what am I doing? Loan services. We don't want any particular kind of loan. When we talk about loan services, we really don't want to talk about any particular kind of loan. And that's just something to keep this. So I'm just looking for one that's very, very generic, like this one. Insert. It's ugly, but it's generic. Okay, enter. Enter. One more. Okay, what's the next thing? Student loan. I'm probably going to wind up making this picture a lot smaller because I'm going to run out of room with that word student loan. Okay, I'm going to go ahead again. I'm going to center that. You guys know what I'm going to do there. Good. Student loan. I'm going to grab this. We may go and get rid of these blank spaces. We may not have the room for them. Oops. Missed a single character. And you saw what I did because I missed that character. I just came up here and clicked on it again. And I'm going to paint over that again. Good. Okay. Student loan, coming back over to here. Okay, I'm going to make a comment here. Really try to minimize. One of the mistakes college students make, and I've seen this with people that I've known, uh, is they get to college, they take out loans, and they buy things they didn't absolutely need. And then you probably hear from your teachers and other people all the time complaining about the fact that their student loans are so high. And you've got to make sure you keep this, that you borrow as little as you can, as you need. The other thing, and I know we're doing this on a bank thing, but I'm going to make a straight statement too: you don't borrow student loans from the bank. Yeah, the only student loan you should be taking out is the federal student loan. Okay, you can't get as much money, and that is true. However, all of the talk about student loan forgiveness, all of the programs to ease student loans, all of that is assuming federal student loans. The student loans you have taken out from the bank are private student loans, and none of this stuff where they're talking about forgiveness, forbearance meant for a period of time during the COVID thing, where you didn't have to make payments and interest didn't increase on them. All of that stuff only applies to your federal student loans. In real simple language, don't take out a student loan at a bank. Okay. That being said, we're going to go ahead and put this in. Student loans provide an affordable option when it's time to pay for college. Payments for student loans often do not occur while in college. Yeah, often. But will begin after graduation or if you leave school. Even if you haven't graduated, you still owe the money. Interest rates on student loans can be variable or fixed, so be sure to research the rates that best fit your budget. Okay, just real quick on this, and we're going to do a lesson on this later. Fixed interest rates, it never changes. So if you had an interest rate of, say, 5% on the money, you're paying back $5 on every 100 kind of a thing. Okay, that one is a fixed interest rate. A variable interest rate, on the other hand, sometimes they try to fool you by, oh, it's going to be a lower interest rate. It'll only be, 3 points above prime. And right now that would be, about 4. So it'd be a little bit less interest. But the problem is that, and we'll talk about prime later on and what I meant by that word. But just to let you know, the prime can be changed. And all of a sudden, your interest rate can just rocket upwards to something totally unaffordable. Unless you really know what you're doing, it's a short term loan. You've got a really good reason for why you're doing it, and you can explain the reason to somebody who's critical of those like me. Don't take, basically, you want fixed loans. Okay. Variables, yes, in theory, if interest rates stay low during the entire period, you may end up paying less, but yeah. Okay, Control C. Control V. Okay, I want to get rid of a space there because that kind of looks ugly there. What I'm going to do is, the difference in the spacing is that when I hit enter after here, it's basing the space on this side of text. When I hit enter before the S here, it's basing the spacing on this side. Okay, so there. Can you go ahead and copy the format and paste that format there, and there we go. Okay, so I know in my babbling I covered quite a bit here on this one, but this is fundamentally what it's supposed to look like. This was one of our bigger assignments, and I know that. So, but it shouldn't take too long, and we'll take a look at it later.